Today we're going to be doing lesson 3 7/10, and it is called Fraction Estimation with Benchmarks. So you might be wondering why. Why are we doing this lesson? Well, in order to understand fractions and be proficient in adding and subtracting them, we need to first understand where they might be on a number line to determine whether our answer is reasonable or not. So this is our first step in gaining that experience and proficiency to later be able to add and subtract fractions. So what we're going to do today, the how, is we're going to take a look at a game called Fraction Spin. And that is the picture that I have down here at the bottom left with the picture of the fractions. And as you can see, in that spinner, we have different fractions. And the way that you would play this game is you would spin the spinner. So let's say that I spin the spinner and I land on 2 halves. I get to determine where I want to place that fraction in each one of those inequality equations there that you see. So looking at those, I have to come up with a strategy. Do I want to place it in the equation that's going to be less than the whole number 3, greater than the whole number 3, less than 1, greater than a half, less than 1, and so on. So as you can see, you can look down this row here, or this column, and determine where you might want to place that particular fraction. After you determine that, then you would spin the spinner again. And let's say that this time you land on 7/8. You do not have to place that 7/8 in the same equation that you chose earlier. The object of the game is to complete 10 true inequality equations, and then you become the winner. So as soon as you can complete 10 of those that would be true statements, then you would win the game. And as you can see, it is a 2-player game. We have name on this side, name on this side. So basically what you'll do is play against a family member or someone from class, however you'd like to do that, or play against yourself even, just to see if you can accomplish the task. So that is what that game is all about. It's to give you practice so that when it comes time to do your assignment, you've got some experience with that. So that brings us to the assignment. So here at the top of the page, we now have a problem. Micah bought 1 1/3 pounds of grapes and 1 1/2 pounds of bananas. About how many pounds of fruit did Micah buy? So again, we have a number line with fractions placed on it, but we don't necessarily have those fractions that are listed in our problem. Okay, so notice they give us the number line and then they ask us how much fruit, about 2 pounds, about 2 1/2 pounds, or about 3 pounds. So what you're going to do is first determine where you might place those fractions on the number line, and then determine if you were adding those together, about how much would it be, and then explain your thinking. So of course, that's the most important part, right? Being able to explain what you did. So when I look at my number line, I can see 1 1/2 is already there. So I know where that one will be. Then I need to look at 1 1/3. I know that 1 1/3 is larger than a whole. And I know that the fraction 1/3 is less than 1/2. So I know that that fraction is going to be probably somewhere over here. So we're going to say that that is 1 1/3, which is really hard to squeeze in there. Let me try that again. My pen tool is too thick, so let me change that. maybe if I write it up here, 1 1/3, and then of course that would be our 1 1/2 that I already underlined. And so we kind of place those there and thinking to ourselves, if I have a whole and I have a whole, I know that's 2, the whole number 2. Then I have to think about 1/3 and 1/2. They do not have the same denominator, so I'm not adding the same denominator type fractions together. So I have to kind of picture in my mind what that's going to look like. And so would my answer be about 2 pounds? Would it be about 2 1/2? Well, I already have the 1/2. Or is it going to be about 3 pounds? So think in your mind, what is it closest to? And you're probably going to lean towards about 3 pounds. So now we have to explain our thinking. So how would we do that? We might say that I know that 1 whole plus 1 whole is 2. And the fractions that I'm trying to approximate in my head or look at on a fraction number line, I can see 1/2, I can see 1/3. So I know it's going to be bigger than 2 1/2 because I've already got the half here. So it's going to be a half plus a third, so that's closer to 3 pounds. So in your explanation, you're going to need to explain that. Okay, so we have looked at the game fraction spin. That is going to give us practice looking at inequalities, figuring out where you might place those fractions to get a true statement. And then we also looked at a sample of the type of questions that you're going to have to work with. Hopefully, you'll have practice with the game and this will be a piece of cake and you'll have no problem with it. Again, just kind of taking your time, thinking through those fractions, making sure that you're thinking about those unit fractions that you know. The half is an important unit fraction to compare with. The whole is another unit fraction that is important to compare and justify your answer. So until next time, happy fraction learning.